Are we on? Are we on? Yeah, I think we're on. Galamera, Galamera, Galamera. And how are you all today? What a fantastically beautiful sunny day it is. And it's actually warm as well. There's a little breeze, which you probably can hear. But other than that, it's absolutely gorgeous. Not a cloud in the sky at the moment. So I think we can honestly say we're feeling the summer just inching its way towards us at the moment. All the chickens are out and about. They all seem to be happy. The cats all seem to be happy. And all in all, it's just an absolutely wonderful day. Let's have a quick look across towards the other side of the hills, towards like Kerry and also Amberlockaby and that. And as you can see, again, lovely clear blue skies, just a touch of cloud up over there, but nothing to be unduly concerned about. So all in all, it's looking like an absolutely beautiful day. Anyway, big shout out to Shane Bowen, who's tuning in from Exmoor. Laura Grant is there. Sid James, he's also watching as well. He says, morning, Ginge. And fantastic. Right, let's get down to business. Let's get down to the news. And to be honest, very mixed news this morning. Some good, some bad, and some, to be honest, shocking as well. And before I start the news, this is a little Domino down there, just having a little bit of a chill. He's been a good boy this morning, haven't you, darling? Hey, he's one of our interlopers who comes to visit for food and that, and he's become more one of our cats now, bless him. But anyway, there's Domino. He says good morning as well. And a quick wave to say Sid James. Right, let's just quickly have a look at what's going on. And I'll be with you in a tick. Go. Big shout out to Dave Coldwell over there, United States. Nice to have you tuning in as well, sir. Hope all is well in your world. Right, okay, let's have a look at what's been going on in the last 24 hours. I can't believe today's Friday. Where has this week gone? And it is now day 140 of the lockdown for us here in Greece. Anyway, let's have a look at the COVID for the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours then, some good figures at the moment. The numbers are down a bit, okay. I did report to you last time that we had 3,062 new cases. Well, new infections for yesterday, it had dropped down to 2,588 new infections recorded across the country. So that's a downward turn, which is good. That brings the total amount of cases we've had since the pandemic started to 245,405. Now, there were 8 new cases identified into routes into the country, which is down from the other day where we reported 11. Now, according to the national statistics yesterday, there was 1 new case in Macardo, there was 1 new case in Kefalonia, there were 12 new cases in Corfu, and Zakynthos had reported 19 new cases on the national stats. However, starting and checking our locally reported numbers, there were no numbers reported of any new infections yesterday. Maybe the national stats are playing catch up at the moment because over the last few days we've had quite a lot of positive cases. Anyway, there was a major test done yesterday in Solomos Square. 72 people were tested, and of those 72 people, there were no positive cases found. So that is a positive in itself. Just to remind viewers that Zakynthos is now on is on the area of concern with the Greek health, along with 8 other regions. And the current infection rate at the moment, statistically, is 56.43 cases per 100,000 inhabitants, which puts us in a high category. However, just to remind you as well, up until yesterday, we were looking at 244 positive cases since the beginning of the pandemic, of which 144 of those cases were actually this month. All right. So we'll see if there's any change to this throughout the day. Now, when it comes to deaths at the moment, deaths also have dropped as well. Did report to you last time that we had 67 deaths across the country. Well, that's now dropped to 52 new deaths across the country, bringing the total death toll since the beginning of the pandemic to 7,701. Again, the average age of those people passing away, 79 years of age. 96% of those had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And also just a quick reminder that the daily death rate in 2019, before the advent of coronavirus, would be approximately about 329 cases a day across the country. Anyway, let's move on to looking at critical cases. Now, unfortunately, critical cases are up, but to be honest, they're not up by much. Last time I said to you, they were at 699 critical cases across the Greece, and at the moment it is now 706 critical cases in ICUs across Greece at the moment, of which 458 are male and 248 are female. So anyway, that's the stats at the moment in regards COVID infections. Once again, just to remind you, Zakynthos at the moment, we have 7 people last reported in our COVID clinic. We don't know if any of them are in the intensive care part of that, but there are 7 people in the COVID clinic here on Zakynthos. Right, today's news then. So yesterday we had the celebration of 1821, independence of Greece against the Ottomans when they finally defeated the Ottoman Empire, and obviously Greece then became its own independent nation, and the modern Greece as we know it now came about. So there were some local events here yesterday on Zakynthos to celebrate that. In the morning there was an official church service that took place at the Holy Metropolitan Church, which was then followed by a memorial and prayer and laying of wreaths at the Hero of the Fallen, which is in Solomon Square. And this was done under the backdrop of a giant Greek flag that was on a mobile crane that hung there. There was social distancing observed by those who took part. There was not many people involved in that, just basically dignitaries from the island took part in that wreath-laying ceremony. Now, then later in the day, shortly before 12 o'clock, there were more wreaths laid, but this time they were laid at Stranis Hill. Now, for those people who don't know what Stranis Hill is, Stranis Hill, there's a monument up there, and it's also the location where legend has it that local poet Dionys Solomos, he was up there, and he became inspired to write the Ode to Freedom because you could hear the gunfire of the cannons coming from the Peloponnese, and it was wafting across from the Kalini area towards Zakynthos, and the gunfire could be heard and the cannon fire, and that is where he took inspiration and wrote the famous poem called Ode to Freedom, or Ode to Liberty is another sort of subtitle of it. And that poem was then incorporated into the Greek national anthem. So that's one of the big things about Zakynthos, is that Zakynthos was the island that actually created the Greek national anthem, or had a big hand in creating the Greek national anthem. So anyway, wreaths were laid there to the poet up on the hill, and basically, it was then said that there were other events that had been planned. However, they were all cancelled to obviously come back at some later date. When obviously the pandemic has passed, there will be sort of a second round, shall we say, of 1821 celebrations when we're allowed out of our homes and able to basically be able to take part. If you go online at the moment, Hermes News, SYRIZA as well, the local press here, they've been running lots of pictures of Greek flags around the island that were raised up over the shipwreck, and also in other various locations, and also around the world, and also around Greece as well, where everything yesterday turned white and blue. Anyway, Interestingly, I was looking at some of what was going on in Athens. Prince Charles noted the deep friendship and strong bonds connecting Greece and his country through a speech that he gave at an official dinner in Athens, which was obviously held to mark the anniversary of the Greek Revolution. He says, "I feel a deep connection to Greece, its landscapes, its history and its culture, and I'm not alone in this. Part of the essence of Greece is within us all," he says. "As a source of Western culture, the spirit of Greece pervades in our societies and in our democracies. Without Greece, our laws, our art, our way of life would not have flourished." He also noted that his family had personal connections to Greece, saying that the country was the homeland of his grandfather, and it was also the place of birth of his father also as well. He also noted that his grandmother, Prince Alice, who was in Greece during the war, in the dark years of the Nazi occupation, had rescued a Jewish family, and a feat for which she received the honor of the righteous among the nations from Israel, which is also an honor that Zakynthos shares, where it also rescued the entire Jewish population from the hands of the Germans. And that's another story, and that's another reason why the Israelis love Zakynthos, and we may see a lot more Israeli tourists coming in the summer. Anyway, the prince then ended his speech with verses from the poem written by Dionys Solomos, which I've just already explained to you. And he said at the end of his speech, "Let us hail you, O Liberty," which is from the actual Ode to Freedom poem written by Solomos. Anyway, the French Defence Minister, I do apologise, I called her the Foreign Minister yesterday, Florence Parly. She was a woman that I said didn't exactly dress for the occasion, although at this dinner she seemed to have glammed herself up a bit, so I think maybe she might have heard. Anyway, she expressed her country's admiration for the Greek Revolution of 1821, in which Greeks sought their independence from the Ottoman rule, saying the country has inspired other nations. Every trip to Greece is a trip to our roots. And interestingly, I hunted high and low to see if there was anything said by the Russian foreign minister that came over. Not a word. Nobody said if he gave a speech or anything. I had to, out of interest, I looked at the pictures of the dinner online, and shall we just say, I would say there was the minimal amount of social distancing going on around the dinner table. They certainly weren't wearing masks. And I think the Russian minister didn't speak any language that he could communicate with anybody else with, because he had headphones on, unless he was listening to Mr. Putin whispering in his ear or something. But unfortunately, I can't report what the Russians said about the whole thing. And to be honest, Russia's arrival at this celebration is, shall we say, sketchy. All right, they might have been an ally way back in the 1800s, but at the moment they're a nation that's been doing business with Turkey. Turkey's been buying weapons from them, and shall we just say it's a little bit uncomfortable with the Russians at the moment. The Russians are trying to expand their sort of presence within Europe. A lot of the issues to do with Greece and Turkey, Cyprus as well. The Russians are there at the back. The Russians have been given support to Turkey in the way of drilling technology for some of the oil in the Western Mediterranean to be drilled out. So again, interesting, not one word that I could find being reported about Russia's feelings towards the celebration of 1821. And when you consider Russia had its revolution in 1916, but that was internally against their own, as opposed to externally, as in the way of Greece. But anyway, we'll see what happens and what transpires. Anyway, government sources also rejected on Wednesday night media reports that authorities were considering extending the current lockdown to April the 25th. Now, due to the high number of hospitalizations and incubations and patients with COVID-19, the Greek government has described this as baseless. Hey, there might be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel at the moment in regards to this lockdown that we are still in. Anyway, according to Greek media reports, the recommendations is based on the epidemiology data, which indicates that the number of patients requiring incubation will rise in the next coming weeks. Now, these same sources said that the government's current priority is to tackle the overwhelming pressure placed on the nation's healthcare system, particularly over the next 10 days. So at the moment, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. To be honest, I hadn't heard any date of the 26th of April being bandied about. That is news to me. We hadn't been expecting maybe the 19th of April to be the time that we would be finally let out of lockdown. But again, are we being set up for the 26th? We shall wait and see, and we shall see what happens. At the moment, our figures are starting to drop a bit, so that might be a step in the right direction. Also, interestingly, today as well, Portugal has introduced a travel ban from today for the whole of the Easter period. Don't forget their Easter is different to ours. Citizens are banned from leaving their local district from the early hours of Thursday until 5 o'clock local time on the 5th of April, except for certain exceptional circumstances. Also, as well, leaders of the 27 countries of the EU held a teleconference today on proposals to add controls on vaccine exports to the European Union as a third wave of COVID-19 infections sweeps across much of mainland Europe. Yesterday, the UK and the EU in a joint statement said they wanted to create a win-win situation and expand vaccine supply for all. Vaccine doses administered per 100 citizens has reached 44.7% in the UK, where it's been doing reasonably well, whereas the EU is only now just starting to catch up, and it stands at the moment at 12.9 per people per 100 being vaccinated. And at the moment, the vaccination program here at the moment, not heard too much about how it's going, whether we are still vaccinating. There was a bit of a rush on it last week, but this week gone very quiet on vaccinations going ahead. And I've not heard from anybody who said they've been vaccinated here on Zakynthos this week. Anyway, also going to education now, the ongoing acrimony between the government, which is the New Democracy Party, and the opposition, which is SYRIZA, over the cost of the Webex platform used by students for online education during lockdown. That continued with the Education Minister, Nikki Karamas, accusing the PASOK party of petty populism. Anyway, SYRIZA had contested the government claims that the platform's use had been secured for free and alleged that the personal data of users was compromised. Anyway, the minister insisted that the data was protected while reiterating that the contract with Cisco from March to from March 2020 to January 2021 provided for a free concession of Webex teleconferencing platforms. Anyway, however, she noted that obviously using the e-learning platform could not be free forever, and that the total cost was 2.15 million euros. Anyway, SYRIZA officials told the Greek press that her statement was tantamount to a confession that the contract with Cisco was not free as initially claimed. I think they're splitting hairs at the moment. But one thing I do know about this at the moment is that students I've spoken to, university students, as well as kids who are at school and stuff, and parents, this online learning thing is not working, especially the Cisco thing at the moment. A lot of people don't have software that can support it. It is slow. The internet, obviously, that it's carrying is not a good feed. And so a lot of the students are finding that they turn up just to show their face. This is university students I'm talking about now. Show their face, get their name taken, so that technically they have attended the class. Some of them were telling me that they sit and play computer games while the lectures are going on, because obviously the teacher can't see and the lecturer doesn't know. So at the moment, they are really crying out that they want to get back into universities, get back to their technical colleges, because at the end of the day, they're wasting time, they're wasting their education, and also they're spending money as well, trying to survive. And parents are also burdened as well with obviously the costs of their kids at school, obviously having the living costs, etc., and not obviously being able to, like you would do with most students, they do a part-time job or something that helps to support them while they're at university. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that, because again, we are wanting the schools to reopen, and also the universities who have been closed nearly all the time virtually, and struggling with the online learning. And there are a lot of people struggling with the online learning. Right. This is a local story that is now in the local domain, in the local press. Concerns are prevailing in the animal welfare organisations on Zakynthos after two separate incidents in the last few days where 6 puppies were poisoned, which has resulted in the death of 5 of them. Volunteers from the animal welfare organisations Anti-Strays located 3 of the puppies in the area of Kalamaki, where they had been poisoned with rat poison, while another 3 dogs were also poisoned in the area of Kalapaki, which is not too far from where I live. It's if you go from Macardo to head towards Lidl, you actually can take a route through Kalapaki as a back way route into where Lidl is, for those people who are not au fait on the island. Anyway, Jamie Cantonis, who runs Zanti Strays, was talking to the local press, and she said she explained what had happened and how they found the small dogs which had been poisoned and obviously stressed. And there are also pictures in the the Emira news which shows this. She said that these cases, I'll start that again. Jamie Cantonis, who has been a member of Zanti Strays for many years, explained how it happened and how they found the small dogs that had been poisoned and stressed. She said that on Tuesday we found 3 puppies in Kalamaki. A volunteer took them home and we took them to the vet. It was found that they had all eaten rat poison, and we started the treatment. 2 of the 3 died on Wednesday morning, and the other was recovering. Also, 3 more were found in Kalapaki. We found them in the same procedure. A volunteer found them, and when he went to look at them, one of them was already dead and the others were in a very bad condition. Until he reached the vet, one had died at the vet and the other died on Wednesday night. Jamie further explained, we called the police, and we have now filed what they call an unknown lawsuit. That means you're filing a lawsuit against somebody that you have not yet identified. The rat poison is possibly the same in both cases and raises suspicion that it is possible how it was possible to have the same poison in the same period of time in 2 different parts of Zakynthos. Now, they also said that they called forensic veterinarians who came. They took samples to analyse to see what the rat poison was and how much obviously the animals had taken, and also whether it could have been hidden inside meat and food where the dogs were so hungry they would have just eaten it, not realising what was in it. Anyway, in both cases the same rat poison was found. The poison actually needs 4 to 5 days in the body after the animals have eaten it before the animals start to feel the unfortunate effects of it. Jamie also said, unfortunately, this is not the first time that such unpleasant incidents have occurred here on Zakynthos, and it is also the tip of an iceberg as well. Once again, just the local press then reminded people that abuse of an animal now is a prosecutable offence here in Greece, and the perpetrators of these 2 attacks against these puppies are now being sought as well by the authorities. So again, we'll keep our ear to the ground, see what the outcome is that, see if they will catch anybody for it. And I've got to be honest, it's very rare that people do get caught and do get taken to book about it. But again, the word is out. And also the other danger is if you're an animal person and you're walking your dog or your animal, there's been many cases in the past where people have had their dogs accidentally killed because while out walking their dog, especially around the area of bins, dogs being like they are, they start snuggling and snuffling into the bins that are around, and then obviously bits of meat are left laced with poison, and they inadvertently eat the poison. Now, a few years ago, people were walking around with special combi pens, basically to counteract some of the effects of some of the poisons. I've not heard of that happening too much at the moment, but I do remember in the past we had a really bad spate of animal poisonings, mainly around the Kalamaki area, the Laguna area, anywhere where there was tourism on. And I do know a couple of friends who'd lost animals because they took them for a walk, and while they were off their lead, they had eaten some poisoned meat. So once again, please be careful if you're taking your dog for a walk. Best keep it on the lead, especially with the traffic as well. And also just be very wary of anywhere where people put rubbish in bins. That is normally the location where these unscrupulous people put poison, all right, to basically poison what they term a nuisance, all right, because we haven't got anywhere other than the volunteers for the animals to go. And this is one of the reasons why we need this municipal dog pound as well to become a reality, all right, because again, it's just a few on this island who are really trying to get to grips with the animal welfare issues here, and people still have not really learning about neutering their animals to kind of cut down on births in the future, because at the end of the day, the puppies didn't ask to be born, and when a bloke or somebody has puppies and it just goes and dumps them, it's not good. I don't know how they can live with themselves, to be quite honest. I'd feel really guilty if that was me. I couldn't do that. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that story for you. And finally, yes, and finally story today, March the 25th is not only just Greek Independence Day, but it is also one of the most important dates in Greece, because it is also the Feast of the Annunciation as well. That was another big festival that was also going on yesterday while everybody was white and blue. But the Feast of the Annunciation, where the angel Gabriel came to the Virgin Mary and said, you are now going to become the mother of the Son of God. And obviously that is the reason why people all wanted to go. A lot of the older, shall we say, Greeks all wanted to go to church yesterday. And again, they couldn't go to church. It was only the first 20 allowed in the door to celebrate the Feast of the Annunciation. So there you go. Little bit of another information for you. Right, let's have a look at who's tuning in at the moment. Quite a lot of people at the moment looking in, which is really nice. Sid James is looking. Hello, nice to see you, Sid. Lorna Grant is saying, oh, morning, Ginge. Wish I was there. Oh, bless, we wish you were here as well, because this would have been the week when the EasyJet flights normally would have been starting to fly in. And I'm sure if nothing had been going on for with COVID and that, I bet you we would have had flights just a little bit earlier, so they could kind of use 1821 as a good excuse to come a bit early to make some extra money, and we would have had more people, I think, here over that period of time as well, which would have been very nice for us leading up to the beginning of the season. Anyway, Bob Monroe is tuning in as well. Emma Marku from Essex is tuning in. Nice to see you. Julie Meldrum is there. Also, as I said, Dave Coldwell over there in the United States of America tuning in. Not sure if he's a family member, but it's nice to see when the Coldwells all get together. We are a rare surname. That's all I'm going to say. Jean Lills is also looking in from Huddersfield. How you doing, my lovely? Shane Bowen says, Galimera Ginge, nice to see you. See some hot sunny weather. It's very wet and stormy over Exmoor. I enjoyed watching the parade yesterday. Bless you. You can still watch the parade. I know Hermes News has got a direct link to a recording of the of the parade. It's not the one that I was writing the commentary on, but that's another story. But again, if you want to watch the parade, it was a damn fine parade, I've got to be honest, but just so weird with hardly anybody there watching it. No people like they would have had if all had been well. And as somebody said, there was all these people out yesterday just off to the shops, or just happened to walk past where the parade is if they were close to the parade. But a lot of people did actually stay in their homes and didn't go out because they obviously didn't want to get fined, all right? And that's the reason. Right, Jean Lils says, good morning. Graham Cool is also looking in as well. Nice to see you. Gary Davis as well. Ooh, Gary Davis. Alan Cowell is also tuning in as well. Is that Alan? No, that's Sam Cowell I'm thinking of from my days on the cruise ships. Old Clive Darwood tuning in as well. Nice to see you looking in, big buddy. I hope all is well with you. Also, Steve Hinkling up there in Stoke-on-Trent is looking in. He says, Gallimera, Ginge. Abigail Butterfield. Oh, that's a lovely name. Abigail Butterfield. I do like that. Nice to have you looking in, my darling. That's a new name as well. I'd remember a name like that. Johnny Hayes. Hey, Johnny. He's looking in as well. Rap Reg, buddy. Nice to see you. Heather Flynn is also tuning in as well. Jan Lawrence is also looking in. Shane Bowen says... Gallimera Pascal. I think he's saying Gallimera. All right, but good morning. Calo Pascal is the way we say it here. Steve Hodson is also looking in as well. Happy McNaughton is looking, or Happy McNaughton, shall I say. Alf Ling as well is looking in. Mick Ling is also, we've got all the Lings in today. Mick Richards is also looking in as well. Emma Marku says, good morning, Ginge. It's been a long week and thank goodness it's Friday. Have a great day. Thank you very much for that, Emma. I know sometimes you're getting a little bit fed up with it all. Trust me, we're all getting all fed up with it all because we're looking for light at the end of the tunnel. And you know what? It just seems to get that little bit further pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So we'll know when we're out of it, when we're out of it. Gav Kitchens also, Raf Reg buddy tuning in. Mark Stewart tuning in as well. Jill Ponson is also tuning in as well. Lisa Jane Baker is watching. Jill Podson says, good morning, Ginge. Good morning to you, my lovely. Dave Matthews says, morning. Morning to you, Dave. Also, who else have we got? Lyndon over there in Wales is tuning in. Lovely to see you tuning in, Lyndon. I hope the allotment is doing well and the garden is doing nicely. Jill Jeff Seed is also looking in as well. Chris Clark is looking in. Delia Cossetti is looking in as well. Phil Ellis is also in. Also, Christine Rildridge is looking in. Gail Marsden is looking in. Pam Stott is looking in. Sue Parkinson, she's got a nice Greek flag on her avatar. Nice to see that there, Sue. Also, Tracy Mitchell is looking in as well. She says, good morning. Hope all is good with you. Thank you, my lovely. Gail Marsden says, I saw some fantastic footage of the celebrations yesterday. There's been some fantastic pictures. I've got to be honest. If you go to Hermes or go to Amira, the two local newspapers here on Zakynthos, you'll see lots of pictures of everything all covered in blue and white. Even the municipal building for the region, they were projecting onto that the Greek flag, and it looked rather impressive. I thought about doing the same with my projectors and getting them out and sticking them on the house, but you know what? I've never got round to doing that. But obviously somebody had the same idea as me, which was nice to see. Anyway, Wendy Norcliffe is watching. Julie Edwards is watching. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is watching. Tony Ardley is watching as well. Right, thank you, guys. Just to remind you, it's still a busy day for Jane and I today. First of all, it's our pilgrimage to Lidl, where we go and we'll do a bit of a shop, obviously for the week's supplies. Also, as well, this afternoon, I have my Request and Inspiration show going out live from Studio One in Macardo at 3 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock my time, here in Greece. So make sure you come and tune in. All right. Any requests, stick them in the bottom. Reg, I've got your other requests as well that you asked for. Aaron's looking in at the moment. So I will pop those into today's show. I've also found a little bit more Greek reggae and it is absolutely awesome. And I'm going to be playing some Greek reggae this afternoon, and maybe a few more Greek tunes as well, still carrying on the 1821 vibe. And then don't forget, as soon as I finish broadcasting here from Macardo, I then switch through to beatsradio.co.uk for my Friday night dance anthem show. Big shout out to Ben Warner. They've been changing the server over in the UK to a new company, so it means that you're getting a better reception, a better signal, and it's making it easier for us as well as the DJs on air to be able to upload our shows. And basically we're a job in progress on certain regards in the look of the website, etc. and stuff, but the music's going out, and that's the main thing. So come and join us. 5 o'clock, which is 7 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock my time here, for the dance anthem show. Got some credible tunes for you for the dance anthems, and a bit of a trip down memory lane as well for me as well from time to time. Right, well, that's it from me. I better go. Once again, big shout out to Tim Crystal as well, who's just tuned in. I'll keep my ear to the ground, see what's happening, and let you know about it. But in the meantime, keep your chin up, stay as positive as you can with all the madness that is going on around. And don't forget the hypocrisy as well that's going around. And I will be with you later today. So tune in, 3 o'clock your time in the UK for my requests and inspirations. And then 5 o'clock UK time, it's dance anthems from beatsradio.co.uk with me, DJ Ginge. I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.